You got to make friends with that fear. So, get in the car.
What the hell? It's a goddamn cougar in the car.
Oh, there's a cougar in the car. I put it in there.
Welcome back, episode 4. Time to get it in. We had a lot of really cool stuff happen in the combine. Free agency's about to start. The league is freaking colluding against Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of crazy shit going on right now. You had something you want to get out?
No, man, just this Lamar Jackson thing is insane to me, brother. I mean, for whatever reason, he chose Stephen A to kind of put information out there. But I mean, he said that he's not looking for a fully guaranteed deal. I don't know. There's a couple different directions. Do you want to start on that now, or do you want to wait a minute?
Yeah, I was going to mention a couple other things, obviously, because there were some other big signings. I mean, clearly I am the real football fan because you're just sitting in a freaking corner in your closet.
Not in my closet.
It definitely looks like a closet, but I'm the
I
one
put a green shirt on for Green Bay. Come on.
I got my New Orleans Saints posters and my Drew Brees. The Saints have finally found another quarterback, and it looks like,
you're a Saints fan today? I thought you were a Seahawks fan.
Don't judge me. I am what I am, and get off my back about it. I am from New Orleans. I am at least loyal to the Saints because they brought me my first Super Bowl. So the Saints got their guy though, Derek Carr. But speaking of my other team, yes, I am.
Don't love it. Love it.
You don't like the Derek Carr one?
I like it. I don't love it. I think the Saints haven't realized that they're actually in a full rebuild yet.
I kind of agree with you there. Like I told you this multiple times, and I've mentioned this in other videos, that I want the Saints to just get it over with, man. Just go through this rebuild because we're good at freaking drafting players. Like we really are. I always give you shit about Green Bay with like never drafting a wide receiver in the first round. I don't remember the specific date that it was, but literally, I think it was like the 70s or 80s or something like that.
It's been a minute.
I don't know if you saw this tweet though, but it was going around after the Saints signed for Derek Carr, that the Saints literally have not drafted a quarterback since 1971. And that last quarterback,
you know who it
was Archie freaking Manning. Come on, dude.
Well, last first round quarterback. We've drafted 2.
Yeah. So it's frustrating, but I mean, Derek Carr is Derek Carr. He's never had a top 10 defense. He's never even had a top 15 defense, I think. So I think the Saints, I know you like to be a hater sometimes, but the Saints are consistently having a great defense, and they've consistently drafted great on the defensive side recently. And I mean, there's news that Mike Thomas is kind of really starting to get bought in. So you have Mike Thomas, Chris Olave, Shaheed.
I'm going to count on that.
Juwan Johnson actually just
30-year-old injury-prone wide receiver.
I mean,
Juwan Johnson. Oh yeah, he's Antonio Gates.
I never said he was Antonio Gates. Don't even start that. But
I don't know, bro. I just don't see it.
Juwan Johnson went hard last year, dude. He had, I think, like 6 touchdowns in like a 4-game span. So he did the same thing as Evan Ingram. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating on the touchdowns. Don't quote me on that. But he played very well towards the end of the year. So Juwan Johnson, having him, and then this is somebody we're going to talk about, Darnell Washington, like freaking talk about freak of athlete, 6'7", 264. I think he weighed in at the combine. Another freak athlete.
Still ran a 4.6 40.
Yeah. And then like there's another freak athlete we'll talk about, Anthony Richardson. But like Darnell Washington is a guy I think the Saints will really target. So like you have those weapons around Derek Carr with a top 10 defense consistently over the last 3 years. He's in the best situation that I think he would have been, maybe besides the Jets, because the Jets are younger and, kind of, I guess, more energetic, that type of deal. Because the Saints are getting old. That's my only gripe with it.
Right.
But I know you want to be a hater. What do you want to say? You keep giving that little stupid smirk that you always do.
Dude, like I said, I think they're not giving into the fact that they're actually in a rebuild. Chris Olave is great. Michael Thomas is 30 years old, injury prone, and has barely liked the Saints. Juwan Johnson, okay, he had an okay season last year. What does your O-line look like still right now? You know, are they going to play the same? Your defense is another year older. I'm not saying they're bad. They're all good players, but it's
You
another year older. I don't believe in Dennis Allen. So, look,
I'll let you finish, but I'm glad we're getting this on tape now because literally for the last 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, this freaking guy right here has been saying, "Oh, your defense is getting another year older. Your defense is getting another year older." And what we consistently have a top 10 defense. And I don't
ladies
think
and
that's me
gentlemen,
being a
is it true or
homer.
not true that the
Yes,
year
they're
after
getting
year,
another
it's
year
another year
older, but
older?
there's a difference
Okay.
between getting older, but also like still being fundamentally sound whenever you have, because you no matter what you say about defense, Dennis Allen, he's a phenomenal defensive coach. Like I've had my gripes about Dennis Allen last year, and I will probably have those gripes again. I mean, it's the off season, so I mean, and I'm a former athlete. They teach you short term memory, so like I've already forgotten about last year. But I'm excited about this year.
Convenient.
As a quarterback, and if he doesn't get it done, I think he may be in there another year, but I the only thing that I really don't like is the fact that they kept the OC, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now because he's been there for like 12 years. But they're trying to still run that same Sean Payton system,
It's
and
not the same.
it's not the same, but they have the weapons. I think they actually have a quarterback now because Derek Carr is a starting quarterback. Like I saw something like he's a top 10 paid quarterback in the league now. And honestly, that feels okay. Like that doesn't shock me. It feels like, okay, yeah, he should kind of be in that ballpark.
Can you think of honestly, and we don't have to go through it right now, but I'm pretty sure I could probably name 10 quarterbacks that I would want before him.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that right now. And I'm not saying he is like for sure lock top 10 quarterback, but I'm saying with the way that the market goes, obviously, in today's NFL, because you could say the same thing about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray does not deserve to be paid more than Aaron Rodgers, or I don't know if that, but there's like so many
But I
quarterbacks.
would take Kyler over Derek Carr.
No, for sure. Yes. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is there are people that are getting paid more than others that should not be, you know?
Oh yeah, that
So
happens every year. The market, dude, it's insane, man. Like even when you look at like the wide receiver market, people are getting 25 million a year. I mean, corners getting 20 million a year. Like that Gino just got 35. Like that's not
yeah.
that far as a starting quarterback. You're only making 10 million a year more than some of I mean, what think about what DK is about to get paid. You know what I mean?
Well,
He's going to be
DK,
approaching.
is his contract about to end again?
Oh no, he did just get paid, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he still has at least like 2 or 3 years left.
I don't know why I'm thinking about him getting
I
paid
know you're
again.
thinking of Tyler Lockett. Tyler
Tyler
Lockett,
Lockett's about to
yeah,
get
his
paid.
contract
Yeah.
is about to end this year. And I think the Seahawks will resign him. He's
Yeah.
like, he's the guy, you know. You
I
can't
think he'll take a hometown discount for it too.
Right. And speaking of the Seahawks, this is actually a good transition because I did want to mention Geno Smith signing his 3-year, 150 mil deal, which I think
No,
that's
105.
105.
Yeah.
I
It's
thought,
like
okay.
35 a year.
Thank you for correcting me then. I don't know why I had 150. Derek Carr signed a 4-year, 150. Daniel Jones, 4-year, 160. So there's a lot of quarterback money being thrown around. But
Man, it's just
the Seahawks are in a very interesting position too to kind of transition a little bit more to the combine. Is man, yeah, they
say
have,
it.
you know, and they're taking. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. You know
Say
exactly
it.
where I'm going, but for them to possibly draft Anthony Richardson
Let's go.
is honestly maybe the best scenario. Like it really,
Bro.
not just for him though, but for and I hope I will never don't send this to Eli either because he will never let me forget it. Uh but I really hope we don't. I mean, so I want Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I want that known. Like I would much prefer them and then maybe draft like a Hendon Hooker in the second round or just find a way to come back and get a quarterback next year. But to pass up on Anthony if he is there, it's
What
hard.
about Stetson Bennett?
I don't know. I'm not
Bro,
really.
winning pedigree, faster than he looks, was
So
slinging it at the
he
combine,
feels like
and
a
then
more
a little
athletic
older, so
Colt
he's
McCoy.
an adult.
He feels like a more athletic Colt McCoy.
I don't
McCoy.
know, man. I think he could end up being a better Brock Purdy, and
I
he's going to
don't
get
know.
drafted higher.
My boy, big blank Brock. I don't want to say, it, but my dude Brock. He looks like he got something special. Like we talked about that on the last trade a little bit. I mean, the last episode. I just
Yeah,
made a trade for him, and I'm pretty excited about it. He just went through his UCL, which is a pretty serious surgery, obviously for quarterbacks. But he's expected to be throwing in 3 months. I think they said.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't think they're a believer in Trey Lance right now. I really don't. Like Trey
I don't
Lance
either.
hasn't proved anything. This guy has proved, I mean, to be fair, the 49ers are kind of like the Jets in the sense where they ask their quarterback to do so little. You really don't need to be like an extravagant quarterback to be there. But I do think Brock,
That's why it was confusing when they moved up for Trey Lance, because to me, the right pick for them for that offense was Mac Jones.
well, they were considering Mac Jones, but that's kind of, I guess, the Anthony Richardson factor happened where they just fell in love with the athletic ability because I totally get it. As an offensive minded coach like Kyle Shanahan, dude, could you imagine having like, say, yeah, all I need is just a guy. But can you imagine giving
Right.
me someone like a Lamar Jackson? Because that's what they were thinking probably going into the draft. An athletic, fast, agile quarterback definitely wasn't as good of a pure runner as Lamar. I'm not saying that. But
No.
everyone usually makes that comp towards Lamar in terms of the athletic quarterbacks that can escape. Or maybe I guess you could say Josh Allen now as well, which is probably a more popular choice. But, I'm a Lamar homer, so I got to throw my guys somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's an interesting situation for the Seahawks. Like I said, I would love Jalen Carter. That's probably one of my. I mean, I'm also saying this because I have the Seahawks defense in probably like every single league I'm in. So yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. Or I am definitely okay with Anthony Richardson because you have him sit behind a year with Geno, and Geno already said he's more than willing to mentor. So I think it's just the best situation all around.
I agree. And because Gino's an adult and he went through everything that he went through with the Jets, teammate busting him in his mouth, was out because of
Yeah.
that, bounced around the league
Hell of a
some. Well,
story.
not even
Hell of a
bounced, but I
story.
mean, sat behind Russell, came back, and
You root for a guy like Geno, and I really
you
do.
do.
That's kind of why I don't want a quarterback because, I mean, again, I hate giving Eli credit. And for the audience, if you don't know who Eli is, don't worry, he's not an important person. He's a nobody. But he said that Geno kind of has like that Kurt Warner feel to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
maybe
mean,
I'm not comparing them, obviously, saying they're going to be Hall of Fame, but it's the type of situation where you just root for the guy and you want to
yeah.
see him hit the highest of heights.
Well, and at the same time, right? They didn't pay him a little bit of money. I mean, 35 million a year. That's pretty solid. I mean, they probably have an out in the third year. I think even Derek Carr's contract is structured to where they have an out after 2 years.
It's very cap friendly because the Saints
Yeah,
and cap hell every single
yeah.
year.
Well, exactly why they need to stop punting the money down the road and actually just finish paying everybody and get back on track. But anyway, I think that's the right decision because Gino's an adult. He's been through stuff. He can coach him through it. He looked good last year. And Pete Carroll's not going to ask him to do everything. He's going to ask him to make plays on the move. And if he can develop as a passer a little bit, is he maybe the best or second best running quarterback in the league, like off rip?
I mean,
A
dude, it's
4.4
possible.
40 at 244 pounds, 40 and
It's
a half inch vertical, 10.9.
100% possible. Like, I think me and you were texting about this after the combine. Is like he compared himself to Lamar Jackson and Cam
He
Newton.
called him Cam Jackson, was
Exactly.
his
And
comparison.
honestly, I cannot agree with that more myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's as strong as Cam was, but he's
No.
very strong. And I don't think he's as fast and twitchy as Lamar, but dude, he has the
It's a
perfect
good as a runner, yeah. That's a
yeah.
perfect combination.
So,
But the only thing is, man, he was not accurate at all.
really? So, I
at
mean,
all.
obviously, yeah. So that's one thing that he'll need to improve. But I think when you have a guy like DK and Tyler Lockett, and then I mean, I said it already. I want the Saints to get him. I love it for the Seahawks to get him too. Like Darnell Washington, you have big targets, or like a Tyler Lockett who's just a really smart guy who knows how to find the open zones. You know,
Yeah.
like, it makes those accuracy issues dissipate. Maybe not dissipate, but at least you can help learn. Because I mean, we've mentioned this on the podcast before. One of the biggest things, like, yeah, Josh Allen went to the quarterback guru. I'm blanking on his name. Palmer, Jordan Palmer. There we
Yeah,
go.
Jordan Palmer.
He went to the quarterback guru who's like worked with everybody and
Yeah.
helped him with his accuracy. But what really freaking helps him with his accuracy is when you get an elite level wide receiver like Stephon did.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not saying
And that's why it's
DK is
perfect for him to
obviously
go to the
that.
Seahawks.
Yeah, and like DK's not that, but DK's a really freaking good wide receiver. He could, and so is Tyler Lockett. So
So if y'all were to, and I think Anthony Richardson to me is the right pick for y'all, because Gino, he's not the long-term answer, but if he can rock the next 2 years out, and maybe at the end of the second year, Anthony comes in and you're going to hear the chants and all that stuff. I don't think he needs to start at all in year one. I think he should be personally paying Jordan Palmer's salary for the next year or two to make sure that he is ready to be just a more proficient thrower of the football. If he gets to 63% completion percentage, I think he can, really work out, get him on the move. He's going to be a big play threat, whether it's his legs or down the field, because he's got a rocket arm. So,
threw the ball, I
I
think
think that's
60
right.
miles an hour, which is,
Yeah,
let me see, I have it written down.
tied for highest in the league.
Yeah, second, or no, it was second, but all time behind Josh Allen.
Yeah,
So, and obviously, I'm sure, like we always mentioned this already, but like combine records across the board and 40 broad jump, or no, it wasn't a combine 40, sorry, but broad
yeah,
jump,
not the combine.
vertical, and then, like I said, second all time in velocity, right behind Josh Allen. But it was
Yeah,
the fourth fastest 40 of all time. So like
yeah,
that's elite athleticism right there, man. Like, but
yeah.
I do want to transition into one quarterback though, until we get into a little bit more of some of the other prospects, and then we'll do like a quick little free agency predictions because we
Sure.
got to talk about your guy Aaron Rodgers. But you said Bryce Young was not your QB1 in our very first video. And you did question openly his weight, which is something a lot of people have done, but still he was the consensus QB1 pretty much amongst everybody. Has
Yeah.
your mind changed whatsoever now that he weighed in at that 204?
No, no, to be honest, 204 is fake weight to me. We're talking about Trump fake news. I'm saying fake weight. Uh, when you when you look at when that picture, I think the picture where they have Kyler and him standing next to each other,
Yeah.
both 5'10" and an eighth. Both one Kyler's 205, he's 204. They do not look the same at all. Kyler looks short and, for lack of a better way of saying it, but thick, man. He looks stocky, like he's
Yeah.
got build to him, and he still gets injured at that size. So
He was very Russell Wilson like. Russell was like below the bottom is built like a tree trunk,
oh yeah. Oh, you
That's
talking
how
about Kyler. Yeah,
yeah, that's how
absolutely.
Kyler was.
Yeah,
Bryce,
for sure.
I know the picture you're talking about, and I'm sure
Yeah.
most of the internet has seen it too. But
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy. It was but
I didn't like, I mean, I'm, it's cool that he went to the combine and did the workouts. I'm sure or not the workouts, but the X's and O's, I'm sure he did. Um, I don't know. I don't even know if officially he did do that. I know he did some interviews and stuff, which is
he
great.
did interviews and that's it. I think he weighed
Yeah.
in
But
and that's about it.
why didn't you go in and do the X's and O's? You came in to do your height and weight measurements, but you didn't go out there and compete. Like, I like to see a competitor. Like, don't get me wrong. Do I think he's not a competitor? No. But did I want to see him next to his contemporaries? I mean, everybody's going to be dwarfed by Anthony Richardson, right? But at the same time, I don't know. I just want to see that competition. You were invited there and you went there and you stood around and people had people watch. It just seemed a little odd to me,
Yeah.
but you know,
So
I could he be a great first contract quarterback? 100%. But I want a good offensive line. I want him in a dome, all those things because he's not a big guy. I'm not saying he can't do it. And shoot, I'd love to be wrong because he did look really good.
mhm.
But the track record for, Alabama quarterbacks on top of quarterbacks at his size, I just don't see it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: is CJ Stroud still your QB1 then? Did that change at all? Is he still your QB1? Because he was your QB1 in that video.
Yeah, he's still my QB1. I think if you watched the combine, he went out there and was slinging it. He was accurate. He even said, "I'm a ball placement guy." So I don't think he has the highest ceiling. I think somebody compared him to Jared Goff, and I actually really like that a lot,
Mhm.
where he's going to be good enough he could quarterback you to, let me take back that verbiage. I'm not going to say he can quarterback you to the Super Bowl, but he can be a solid enough quarterback to get you to the Super Bowl and would perform. So, Jared Goff was able to do that. And I think he's more along those lines. I think he's probably the most pro ready right now. Bryce Young has the intangibles. He has, the playmaker, go get it. But man, that size just makes me really, really nervous.
Yeah. So I really do like CJ Stroud. I'm not gonna lie, I was very impressed by his combine performance. He
Yeah.
is just, because we've talked a little bit about the Ohio State history about quarterbacks. It's not very good. And the reason I actually recently watched a video about this, shout out to the Thinking Football YouTube channel. Love that video that they actually just released. And it kind of breaks down why Ohio State quarterbacks aren't as good, and he could tell you guys a lot better than I will. So why don't you go just watch that video? But in simplicity, what he was saying is the reason they're so hard to scout is because in college football, obviously, you have it's the same as the NFL, but something you don't ever see in the NFL, you really don't see that much really in college football either, is that they take literally the entire play clock to drain. So and it was something that was very interesting because he showed multiple instances of them just coming in and they're seeing what the defense is, they're adjusting, they're changing their plays, which from one standpoint, you could say that you kind of like, because maybe if the quarterback was doing that, you could say, oh, okay, he's a smart guy, he's picking out coverages, that kind of stuff. But usually in a
Right.
college setting, it's usually the coaches that are calling him and doing, if you've ever been on the sidelines, you're like doing all those crazy little friggin' hand signals
Mhm.
or holding up those pictures, they're changing plays, sending in audibles, or Drew Brees has said this too, like this is kind of part of the Sean Payton system, and he adapted this from college, was that sometimes they'll even send you up with two plays, if they trust you.
Mhm.
Obviously, you have to be a smart quarterback from that to happen.
Right.
But that's one reason why they're so hard to evaluate as a quarterback position, is just because whenever you're sitting there and you're picking everything out, it just makes things so much easier to adjust. And then obviously Ohio State is probably one of the only non-SEC programs that can beat a top SEC program any given year.
Right. They
At least
usually are getting, the top recruits when it comes to linemen,
right.
when it comes to receivers.
So
I mean,
and
they
I
are
think they
wide
had
receiver you. So
yeah, that mock draft I was sending you earlier, they had 3 offensive linemen going in the first round. So, long story short, though, what I was getting at is just CJ Stroud. I think he's a little bit different from those quarterbacks. I think he honestly is probably the most precise, and I do kind of like the the Jared Goff comparison. Excuse me. I think he could be a little bit more talented than Jared Goff, but the arm talent is where I see it, so
yeah,
that he does have the
Jared Goff can really throw the football. I
oh,
mean,
dude, and
we're
yeah,
seeing it
coming
with the
out.
Lions now too,
Oh
with
yeah, and
weapons.
coming out too, people thought he had the best arm talent in the class. Now, if I may be remembering this wrong, but I don't think that was an overly strong class looking back anyway. But
Mm.
still, Jared Goff is no scrub. He's a good
Yeah,
player.
that was the Carson Wentz year and
Yeah, so
Dak Prescott.
yeah, so Dak Prescott's probably the best quarterback to come out of that, and that's
Right.
not good when you had 2 quarterbacks going back to back, 1 and 2. But
Hey, quick note to that. Do you see Carson Wentz came out and said he's willing to help out a football team in whatever capacity that is? Is he going to be the Logan Thomas and go from quarterback to tight end? I mean, he's
I don't
built
think
for
so.
it.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to do that. I think
Hey,
when
let him come
it's
out
like
and be the best tight
backup,
end in the league.
I think if he changes his contract, Carson Wentz is a phenomenal backup. You know, but no one obviously blamed him for renegotiating his contract because why would he? He was never going to get that contract again. You know,
Ever.
Exactly. Like so. Get your money. Like every
Right.
NFL player, by all means. That's why we are very pro Lamar on here. And
Yep.
I gotta give my guys some love a little bit more before we do leave, but we'll save that for the free agency part.
Yep.
But yeah, just go get your money, Lamar. Like be the game changer, man. Go get
Damn
a
right.
$200 million guaranteed contract without an agent. I love that.
Right.
But I want to move on a little bit. I want to go into the running backs because we still have a couple other people that we need to talk about. Because one player specifically that was kind of disappointing for me, and I've seen a lot of other channels talk about this player, but this was a player I got to see in real life at the Senior Bowl. And it was kind of interesting because there's a couple players that I got to see at the Senior Bowl that I want to talk about. And I'll let you talk about some running backs too. I don't know if you have any specific that you want to. But I'll say mine first, and then you can go. But with Kenny McIntosh, this was a guy I loved coming out of the Senior Bowl. I don't think I mentioned him in our actual episode, but we made a little short about some of the big plays that he released, and it got a lot of reviews. It was actually one of our most viewed videos so far, I think at like 2,600 views. And he looked explosive, man. Looked like it was a little big, but like he wasn't too small. And he weighed in at 6', 204. That's honestly a kind of really solid weight. That's not, you maybe want him to be a little heavier, but that you can live with him weighing in at 204. But where it really killed him is the athletic ability, like the burst in the 40, which is something, honestly, I was shocked because he did not look like this when I was watching him in the Senior Bowl. He looked very explosive. He looked like he had some breakaway speed, but my guy ran a 4.62 40. That is not good. Like that is not good at all not for a running back, at least. Not to say that there haven't been successful running backs to obviously do that, but usually it's the big freaking pounders, like the Brandon Jacobs, those types of guys,
Hey, I forgot about that cat.
Yeah, like Brandon, the freaking linebackers playing running back. That's what they are.
Right.
And that is not him at all. He also ran a 1.54 10-yard split, which for those that don't know, the reason you're just running the 10 yards really to test your burst. And excuse me, that's not like terrible 1.45. I mean, 1.54. It's not great though. I don't know why I didn't list like his ranking, but like it was something that I was very disappointed on. Just like the lack of burst, the lack of breakaway speed that he's gonna have. And I didn't. Yeah. Now you actually watched more of the combine, so I'll ask you this, and this is why I think you'll probably have a little bit more to say on maybe your running back, because I was in Vegas when the combine happened, but. How did he look in his drills? Was his footwork solid? Did you see him? Like, did he look shifty? Like, so that's something I didn't see because I was thinking maybe he could be like an Alvin Kamara type player because he was, if you look back, he was very heavily used as a pass catcher at Georgia, but he was also not like James Cook wise, also used to run up the middle. He was given more than 12 carries a game. So what do you think? Did you see him at all during the combine?
So let's put it this way. He didn't really stick out to me, to be honest, if that makes any sense, especially when so granted, you have the Bijans and the Jahmyr Gibbs and the hype around Devin A-Chain and all those guys that are kind of it's going to be easy to overshadow a guy like him, but he just didn't pop to me. When you watch him run, it didn't look as smooth as some of the other players that were there. I mean, I know I keep referencing Bijan, but with the change of direction with Bijan, man, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
it's disgusting. Same thing, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Which is why you try to trade for him every single day, and I
don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny those allegations. But also, text me on the side. But no, to touch on a guy that I really liked that actually came out and performed was Evan Hull out of Northwestern, man. I loved him.
You mentioned him in the other videos.
Dude, did you notice that he well, I know you were in Vegas, so you might not have caught all of it, but whether it was the 40 or he was running the drills with the pads. He was taking the ball to the end zone every single drill. So at the end of every drill, he ran it all the way to the end zone every single time. I've never seen a running back do that before. I think the commentators, Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah said that there was another guy who did that before as well. But no matter what it was, I mean, he looked big, he looked strong, he looked shifty, good enough with his hands, so he was kind of outside of the big names,
Yeah.
not that he's not a big name at all, but outside of the Zach
he's not. I
Charbonnets
mean,
and the Bijan Robinson, and even outside of like Devin A-Chain and them,
yeah.
who obviously came out and flew and just burned everybody in the
Yeah.
combine, but
Very light,
he looked
though.
really good to me.
Yeah, Devon A-Chain, like really light. I like him, like Deuce Vaughn, obviously.
He's got some dog in him. Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, man.
No, he didn't really perform that much on the actual like 40 and everything. I think he did the
No.
actual drills, and I
Yeah.
think he looked good.
Yeah, he looks
So-
smooth, but he looks tiny. I mean,
Oh no, he does. And that's something we talked about is like, is he like a Darren Sproles? Because Darren Sproles is tiny, but he was thick and he was real strong. And I got to give my boy Deuce Vaughn some love here. I watched him in person play against Alabama, run for like 173 yards. Now, to be fair, Bama beat the shit out of him. They did.
Right.
So like and I will also like, if you watch that game, I don't know if you did, majority of that came on like a 70-yard run. So, but still, you take away that 70 yards, he still had at least over 100. And maybe I'm exaggerating the stats. I don't think so, though. I'm pretty sure he had over 150 yards. So got to show some love to Deuce. I think those are like Evan Hall, too, your boy. That's somebody that you're seeing in a couple other videos from other fantasy lists. So those are definitely guys that you want to keep an eye on in your late rounds. And one more that I want to throw out before we move on to the wide receivers. And well, actually, I'm going to mention two, but I'm not going to get into too much just because the other guy that I mentioned I didn't mention him. I kind of just got into Kenny McIntosh, but it's Chase Brown. Chase Brown is a guy that I saw at the Senior Bowl that
he looked good too.
Like he looked good, but like I didn't think he was going to be as athletic as he was. And at least he looked that way. My man came in 5'9", 209. That's a great weight right there for his size. That's phenomenal. That's like, I'm pretty sure close to MJD's weight. I think MJD was like 215, so not too far off. But 4'4", 340, a 40-inch vertical, a 4.3 10-yard split. He ran a 0.1 second slower than Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs on the 10-yard split. So what that means is he has some incredible burst, man.
Man.
Once he gets going, he's shooting, but he also has the breakaway speed to keep going and lose those defenders. So that's a guy that you want to keep your eyes on. And also,
look, maybe it's just because he's light skinned, but he was kind of giving me the he was kind of giving me the vibe of the cap that the Broncos had for a minute. Philip Lindsay.
Yeah.
That's who he kind of reminded me of.
Gotta show you light skin love.
Gotta show light skin love, brother. And by the way, his brother is a safety as well. Sidney Brown is his twin brother. I mean, look just as explosive and athletic on the field too. So
really? I didn't know he had a brother coming out too. That's cool.
Yeah, twin brother. Their story is pretty crazy too, because I mean, like growing up, they had no money, and I don't want to get full on into the story because I'm gonna mess up the details, but they had a tough upbringing, and then for them both to be able to go to school and both be at Illinois and both show out, and I think they both solidified being drafted this year. Whether they're not going to be first round picks, right? But to be in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds, to be drafted, period, coming from a tough upbringing, that's got to be a dream come true, man.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, any of these players getting drafted, we talking about Bryce Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant. Hey, to hear your name called on the NFL draft is a special freaking thing, dude. So kudos to all of those players. I mean, we're going to give you another round of applause once it actually happens, but you're through the combine, you're getting closer to that date. I'm actually going to be in Thailand when the NFL draft happens. I just realized that a couple of days ago. So I don't know if I might even be able to watch it, but hopefully I can, and it's going to be awesome. If not, I'm going to be a millionaire in Thailand. I'm sure I can figure it out.
You got Wi-Fi out there, man. I'll shoot shoot you updates.
But so one other guy that I did want to mention real quick and then move on to the wide receivers is because he gets really overshadowed by Bijan Robinson, but I think this guy is really good. I mean, he's 6 foot, 219, 4.5, 840, 152, 10-yard dash, and a 31-inch verticals. And his name is Roschon Johnson, the Texas running back. Now, I always talk about history. USC has a great history of quarterbacks. They also have a great history of wide receivers. Same thing with Ohio State. LSU has a great history with DBs and even to an extent wide receivers. But you really, I think it kind of gets overshadowed by Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. But one of the things that I'm saying is Texas, man, do they always have some good freaking running backs. So this guy, Roschon Johnson, he kind of, like I said, he got overshadowed by Bijan Robinson, but this is someone I would keep an eye on coming in. I mean, I would love him in the Seahawks uniform or a Saints uniform because both of my teams, I think they need another running back. You know, Ken needs to not get banged up. And I think this is a real pounder, you know, and this is what's more like, if you look at him, 219, he looks 225. I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't, because the way he looks, just looking at him, he's a big old boy. So
jacked. Yeah.
Somebody that you want to look at and keep an eye on. As of right now, I think he's probably like worth a 3rd round pick in your rookie drafts. If you are drafting this early, I don't think anybody would be, but if you are, that's definitely somebody I would look at with possibility to even raise depending on how he falls in the NFL draft. So now this is one to go into the wide receivers, because we still got a little bit more, and we're going to kind of speed through the wide receivers a little bit to get to our tight end so we can still have time for the free agency. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, man, we both had questions about Jackson Smith-Njigba going into the combine. And he answered them. He didn't run the 40, but he answered them, to me at least. You know, we both.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If he didn't run at least like a 4.5 or faster, we said that it's very likely he's not our wide receiver 1 anymore.
Right.
And he didn't run the 40, but he ran, what was it? Where is it at? I have it right here. 3.93 20-yard shuttle and a 6.53 cone drill. The 6.5
fastest both in the combine. Yeah.
Fastest both in the combine. Now with the 3 cone drill, that is the 12th fastest since 2007, and the 20-yard shuttle is the 4th fastest since 2007. So what that tells us, for just in simple terms, for anyone who may be watching this that doesn't understand, that is burst, ladies and gentlemen. That's explosion, agility in and out of your routes, like shiftiness to be able to, you know, squeeze through defenders. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. And great slot wide receivers, but also great just receivers, you know, like doesn't matter if you're on the slot or you're on the outside. And something that was really cool for me to see is that he, like I said, he ran a 6.57. Now, this player, Julian Edelman, we kind of associate shiftiness with him, right? Like he's very shifty.
One of the best slot receivers.
Exactly. Yeah. He ran a 6.62. So that's like all time. Oh, and his shuttle was a 3.92. So he was faster in both areas. So that's like elite level agility, shiftiness, acceleration, everything that you wanted to see from Jackson Smith-Njigba. So what about you? Is there a wide receiver that you had that really stuck out for you, or just like a giant disappointment?
So a couple things. So before I get to that, you know, the combine is underwear Olympics, as we all call it, right? I mean, everybody's going to look good while they're out there, at least to some extent, right? But what you do is you want to look at the combine and associate it with what you see on the field. So if a guy looks shifty on the field, you want to see him look shifty in actual times.
Right.
And then you can compare it for context. And a lot of people get lost in just a time or just whatever it is, because guys train specifically for these drills to look good. But you saw him be shifty on the field. You see, and talking about Jackson Smith-Njigba, you see it all on tape. And then for him to come out and put up the 12th best time ever, you know, the best at the combine this year, 4th best all time in the 20-yard or in the 20-yard shuttle. So he solidified himself in that rare air of like, oh, he's going to be an elite slot wide receiver.
The guy,
Um,
the guy.
yeah. So if he runs the 40 at his pro day or doesn't, I don't think it really matters at this point. He's got good hands and he's shifty. So I just wanted to add that note about him. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers still looks really good, and he's one of my darlings of the draft. Man, every time I watch him, I'm just like, this dude at a minimum is going to be a good slot wide receiver, and somebody's going to put him on the outside like a Tyler Lockett. I saw that. I think Daniel Jeremiah said, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's who he had kind of comped him to, as a Tyler Lockett. So just thinking about getting Anthony Richardson, if y'all could also pull off a Zay Flowers and you choose not to pay, Tyler Lockett, I
Right.
think that would be a good move for y'all
I'd still
offensively. But
prefer Tyler, but I
yeah,
love Zay.
but dude, he just looked like a beast out there as well. But who I actually wanted to highlight, I don't want to say his name wrong, but I'm gonna say Andre Iosivas from Princeton, the wide
Yeah.
receiver, 6'3",
Another guy.
205,
Got to see him at the combine.
32-inch
I mean,
arms.
I said combine. I'm sorry, Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl. Yeah, they said he looked good too. I think didn't he get injured or something at the Senior Bowl, or
He
he
did.
didn't
He
stand out as
I think tweaked his ankle or something like that. But I mean, I
something like
saw
that.
him come back and play well. Looks real athletic, and that showed in the combine.
Yeah, and when you see, when you saw him run the drills, and man, it's a lot of fun. Like Rich Eisen doing the 40, and Daniel Jeremiah being out there, being a former scout and all that stuff that he's done. When they're running the drill where, they start on the sideline, they catch one ball, flip, catch the other ball, and then they run a straight line, catching balls on either side. Forgot what they called it, but dude was on a straight path. He looked amazing, and he's running straight through. Great hands catch away from his body. He's not letting it come into him at all. So I could definitely see him be a good wide receiver too somewhere. Ran a 4.43 40,
Yeah.
1.52 split in the 10 yards. So decent there. Had a 39-inch vertical, and he's 6'3".
Yeah.
If he can develop and keep the good hands, I mean, he's gonna end up being really, really solid, I think, in the NFL. A
So
sleeper pick on like day 2, 3.
I do love that pick. I really do, because that's a guy that really is kind of being lesser talked about, I guess. But
Mhm.
his name has been thrown around a couple times. But you like the really low hanging guys, the Evan Halls. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name, but the guy
I was about to mess that up.
Princeton, but and those are nice picks. Like I really actually both of those have turned out well, and you have an eye for that kind of stuff. So, and I'm glad you also did say the stuff about Jackson Smith and Jigba and clarified that for me too. So,
Mhm.
I do think he's going to be really good. I think with him though, he has the athletic ability, but you want to be able to like see him tighten some things up. Like his route running looks a little loose.
For sure.
Like it's not as, and I haven't watched film on him, just to be fair. So, but what I saw at the combine, this was a guy that knew how to use. I mean, I keep saying combine. What I saw at the Senior Bowl is a guy who knew how to use his athletic ability, which is good because he knows how he has good body control, was able to go up, snag balls. And also it was like what I saw from Jonathan Mingo, which is what I liked. He's also kind of strong too. He's a little lean, but he's stronger than he looks. Like he was able to fight off blockers. So he knew how to use his body, which is something I like to see. But he ran a very limited route trade. It was a lot of deep
Yeah.
routes, a lot of comebacks, digs, stuff where he can use his athletic ability, his burst, his speed, and his height
Right.
to be able to obviously put it. And sometimes that's really all it takes. That's what DK Metcalf was like that coming into the league, but look at him now.
Right.
I think he's definitely improved his route trade.
Yeah, but he's a freak.
But he's a freak.
Dude's a
athlete.
freak. Yeah.
But and obviously he's not DK whatsoever, but like
Right.
he is a great athlete, and maybe used correctly, he can be a Christian Watson type of player, someone from that
Right.
small school who is just a freak athlete, and when put in the right positions is able to succeed. So there is one guy that I did want to mention just as like to be Mr. Negative, as like a giant disappointment for me before
Jordan Addison.
the tight ends, and it's Keyshawn Booty, man, or I should say
Oh, man.
Booty, because my man performed Booty, like seriously, like 5'11", 195, so he's lighter than we thought. He ran a 4.5 40 time, which he ran a 4.6 his first time, which is terrible. And
Yeah,
then
that was ugly. I remember texting you like, oof.
yeah, like my dude has a 29-inch vertical too. Like we both laughed because
Yeah,
neither one of us are professional athletes, and I am not at all saying we are more athletic than him,
right.
but we both had higher like verticals than that in like high school. Like I
Yeah,
might not look like it, but I was able to dunk in like my sophomore freshman year.
yeah.
So like I know there's a movie that says white men can't jump. I'm a different breed of white man. We're from down south. There's a little something different in the Tabasco out here. but
In the Tabasco. Oh my God.
but to go on to the tight ends, I'm not gonna mention this guy again because we've already said how much of just a freak of nature he is, Darnell Washington. But one thing I do want to ask, like real quickly, is he your new tight end one? Did he pass up Michael Mayer for you? Because I think
To
he
be,
might have for me. I think he might
I,
have.
I was gonna say, to be honest, I think he might have. When he came out and ran a 4.6, I
Yeah,
was like,
he's a freak, dude.
dude's.
He's a freak.
There's one thing that I watched on his tape, and you might have seen it as well watching him, is he likes to jump over defenders a lot. And I get it, he's tall, so usually people, and he's big, so people are going low for him. But I
You were
don't love
six
that he keeps
seven.
doing that.
No, I mean I get that. That is something you definitely want to
I mean,
work
he's
on,
Mercedes
especially
Lewis, right? So
no.
Mercedes Lewis will put his fucking shoulder down
Yeah,
and run somebody over. That's what I want to see. I want to see a strong stiff arm. And now, granted, people are going to dive straight at his legs because of how big he is, right? But I don't know. I don't love jumping for every single defender, man. And it just happened a lot in his tape to me.
yeah, no, I mean that is something that you definitely don't love, especially with somebody with that big of a frame. It could cause foot problems, knee problems, all kind of
Hmm.
stuff. But if he like it's just taught, like the Antonio Gates way instead of the Mercedes Lewis way. Don't jump. Just use that big ass 264-pound tail and box
Yeah.
people out and your ginormous freaking wingspan and just go and catch it that way. But the fact that he
Dude's
also
an edge and
he
he's playing tight end. That's so
and
crazy.
and I said we weren't even going to talk to him about that much, but this I don't want to say it. This effer has a freaking 31-inch vertical too. Like what?
That big.
This dude is insane. So like
Yeah.
I want him and every single team I can get. It doesn't matter. I want him. He's probably my tight end one now. I don't know because Michael Mayer was never really an athletic guy anyway. But
He wasn't a mover like that. He reminds me of like a oh shoot, your boy from Dallas, Hall of Fame tight end.
I know who you're
Shoot,
talking about. I'm blanking on
I'm
his name
blanking right now.
too.
Yeah,
Um,
but anyway, well, when I get to it, I'll just randomly
I
shout
mean,
it
yeah,
like I
it's
have Tourette's.
literally
But
gonna come in. But
I'll shout it
so,
like I got Tourette's. But he reminds me of him. He gets into the right spot. He's gonna fit
right,
into the zones, but he's not gonna be destroying people as far as like he's not shaking anybody out of their
right.
shoes.
But he
He's not a
catches
Kyle Pitts.
everything that comes to him. So
Yeah.
he's great. But and unfortunately, Dalton Kincaid didn't perform at the Senior Bowl. I think he was injured. I mean, damn it, I did it again. Senior Bowl combine. But no, Dalton Kincaid did not perform at the combine. I think he just weighed in, and that's about it. I think he's injured though, and that's why, which is
Right.
unfortunate. So I mean, that stuff kind of happens in the draft process where some people rise, others fall. So I mean, you got to deal with it. But I think Dalton Kincaid will still be drafted very highly. So to move on, I want you to mention who is your favorite tight end outside of those guys? Because we obviously mentioned those top three: Darnell, Michael Mayer, Kincaid, who are the cream of the crop. We didn't even mention Lucas Musgrave, who was also incredible. But
Jason Witten, by the way.
there we go.
Jason Witten
Yes,
is who I was thinking of.
yes, Jason Witten, good. But who is your number one tight end? And I already know who you're going to say, which is why I'm just letting you go first. But who was your biggest tight end riser?
Thank you.
Go ahead, be your homer, and just let it all out.
Zach Kuntz, baby. Oh
Who?
my God, bro. Listen, you remember John Kuhn? And I know every player gets it, but I'm a Packers fan, and the whole crowd is going, Kuhn. Yeah, this dude is gonna get that every single time he plays. Dude is 6'7", 255 pounds, was easily man, as much as we're talking about Darnell Washington, I mean, he was probably the most athletic tight end out there, especially at that size. But he went to ODU. I mean, that's right up the street. That's where I went and did a couple semesters before I realized I hated school and that I'm a piece of shit.
He's a
But
dummy.
stupid as hell. But listen, I love football, so that's why we're here.
That's why you're
Maybe
doing
that's
a podcast.
maybe that's why I'm doing a that's why I'm doing a
I
podcast on YouTube. Maybe I could have been something, but here I am with Matt. But no, dude is
have a college education. Thank you very much.
good, and you're still on this podcast with me, right?
True.
All right then. So dude runs a 4.55 40, a 1.57 10-yard split, 10.8 in the broad jump, 40-inch vertical. Talk about your white guys, right? This dude is a beast at 6'7", has a 40-inch vertical. Now, granted, he's 255, but he's a lean 255, and you see it on tape. He doesn't have the same physical presence as a Darnell Washington did, which, with somebody who's got that type of a profile, you kind of would think that he would have gone to a bigger program, but, whatever it was, he came to ODU, had a couple of decent seasons
He
there,
started out at Penn State, didn't he? I think he started out at Penn State.
and he transferred out. Yeah. From Pennsylvania, so it makes a lot of sense. But but hey, look, it is what it is. I know a couple good people from Pennsylvania, know a few shitty ones too, but dude is just an athletic freak. He kind of reminds me, or I would want him to be like a Mike Gesicki type, where he is purely a receiving tight end. I don't see him, not that he can't do it. I'm sure he can block, especially with that frame, but I didn't see that type of nastiness like Darnell Washington had, where he's just going to run people over and doesn't care who gets in his way.
Speaking of, we keep bringing up Darnell Washington, we might as well just name this episode after him. But that freaking video that they had of him pushing the sleds compared to all the other
God, bro.
That's just
just
ridiculous.
Nasty.
Ridiculous. Oh my God.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So by the way, I actually hope that the Packers take him at 14 or 15. I can't remember where we're at over Michael Mayer, just because he is a young version of Mercedes Lewis, and I think he's worth a first round pick. I mean, dude is nasty, and we're about to move on from Aaron Rodgers, whether it's to the Jets or I hear the Raiders are going to make a late push for him. If we can get Darnell Washington there, and we got Christian Watson on the outside, Dubs on the outside, and then we can circle back and grab like a Zay Flowers or something like that. Dude, I think Jordan Love will be set up for success, and we would keep, another blocking tight end who can be a big threat in the red zone as well.
Yeah. So he's an interesting player for sure. We're gonna see. I don't know, with those tight end freak athletes, usually they take a little bit longer to develop, but we'll see. He dominated at OU or OD, whatever the hell it's called.
ODU, baby. Monarchs. All right.
OD.
Put a crown on us. You know what I mean? That's where my brother graduated from.
How many people OD there every year?
Probably not as many as our friends did.
That was a dark joke.
Terrible. Hey, okay. That's how I get through the darkness, man. I miss my guys, but it's pretty sad.
Back to football. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mention mine, and then we'll get to the free agency. So Sam Laporta is the guy I wanted to mention. Now, if you know, as much as I say it, I preach history, so this is why I'm using him. Iowa State has a great history at tight end. Just to give you a few. Greg Kittle. Why did I say Greg Kittle? George Kittle.
Yeah.
I wrote down Greg for some reason and I just didn't fix it. But George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Clark, Noah Fant. So that is some really rich tight end history right there. And I think Sam Laporta is up next. He's 6'3", 245, 4.59 40, 35-inch vertical, and a 1.59 10-yard split, which that's a pretty decent burst for a big guy.
Yeah.
this is someone and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched much film on him, and this is me purely going off of just the numbers and the fact that, like, hey, this is some real tight end history right there. I like to look at that kind of stuff. The fact that there are so many that are like, and obviously you have Hawkinson and Kittle that are both dogs, but
Right.
also have some guy. Oh, and I can't believe I mentioned him off. Dallas Clark, who is probably Hall of Fame, if not in there already. He may be, I don't remember.
Don't remember.
Noah Fant is like really good. So like there's a lot of players in the NFL that play the tight end position. And I don't know if they have the same tight ends coach throughout that same time span. That's probably something I could look up, or if let us know down in the comments. But that is interesting, man. That's like some really good, like, and it's not like USC where their quarterback situation, you had a lot of guys go highly and they didn't really pan out. It's more like Ohio State, where you had a bunch of guys go in and all of them were great, at the wide receiver position, So it's an interesting thing. And like I said, I haven't watched much film on them, and I am kind of excited to watch that film because this is a guy, like, I need a tight end in one of our dynasty drafts. So I'm possibly looking at him. And this is somebody, again, you could probably get in the third round of your rookie drafts, just because the tight end class is so freaking deep this year. You can get maybe a third, fourth round, maybe even fifth round tight end. Hell, I don't know. That is going to end up being a solid dude somewhere.
Your boy Zach Kuntz, man, I'm telling you.
Exactly. So this is some things that you always got to remember going into your rookie drafts. We're going to talk obviously a little bit more going into the NFL draft, and as the off season progresses, so if there's
more fantasy, more dynasty,
of course. And if there's anything particular y'all want us to hit, like, let us know in the comments. The video views are kind of going up, so that's good. Make sure y'all are hitting subscribe. But before we go ahead and get out of here, I do want to talk about one thing, and I'll let you decide, because I'm gonna go on a rant. But if you want to get your little Aaron Rodgers spiel out about his free agency situation, being the Packers homer that you are, by all means. But if not, I have more than enough energy to rant about Lamar Jackson for the rest of the time that we have.
Look,
So,
let me get one quick little blurb out about Aaron. Mark Murphy, our owner, basically, he runs the team. He's the team president. Is already talking about Aaron in past tense. So the question is not if he's going to go. It's just if he's going to retire, go to the Jets, or maybe the Raiders if they make a late push for him. Dude, we're 2 days away from the legal tampering period and free agency. And dude, it's just make your decision, man. And it breaks my heart to say this, because I love Aaron Rodgers over Brett Favre, over anybody, right? But it's got to be the same exact situation as when Brett Favre was leaving us before. And I hate what everybody talks about. Everybody shits on him for the darkness retreat and the ayahuasca and all that kind of stuff. But
that
dude,
is weird. The dark.
Oh man,
it's weird. It's weird.
No, I to be honest with you, I think he's just an extremely spiritual person, and I'm all for doing whatever you want to do. Some people go to Cancun, get drunk as shit, and holler at women and go buck wild. But dude literally is taking a minute away from. Granted, it's different to anybody else, but he wants to get away from all the hype, all the bullshit, and truly make a decision for himself. But like, it's time, bro. It's time. And I hope we get a decent pick back from the Jets, so we can get a couple more weapons to go around Jordan Love. But it's just time to move on, and that's all I got.
No, yeah. Obviously, I love Aaron Rodgers. I called him weird. He is weird, but I like weird. If you know anything about me, I'm all about the weirdness. So Aaron Rodgers, keep doing.
How we met is weird.
I am. I watched too many Tim Burton movies growing up.
Dude, all of our friends, the way we met, and
maybe that's another story for maybe not the podcast, but maybe if
we'll have to start a separate podcast for that.
Yeah, that's something, a whole nother R-rated podcast.
Oh, at the end of your Lamar, at the end of your Lamar rant, by the way, I think we should kind of put up a couple names that we were thinking of for the pod.
Oh,
The
on the
names of the
pod?
pod. Yeah. Yeah.
Like let the audience decide.
Yeah. Let's just throw a couple let's throw a couple of them out there, you know. Hopefully
Okay.
get a few comments of people just giving their opinions on it. We'll make the ultimate decision, right? But
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what a couple of people think.
So, okay, I'm down for that. But
All right, now I'm gonna sit back.
ladies and gentlemen, I am a big Lamar fan. And I'm not saying this as just a fan, by the way. I want to make that abundantly freaking clear. Lamar Jackson is one of the top. Don't sit up to me like that. Lamar Jackson is one of the top freaking quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, I'm not going to say that the NFL. I would flick you off, but I don't know if that would get the video demonetized. So
Right.
I'm not going to do that. But Lamar Jackson.
I don't think we're even monetized to get demonetized, but anyway.
Whatever. Lamar Jackson's a freaking, like, literally, he's an elite quarterback. He is in a class, like something came out recently. He is 45-16. That is fourth all time behind, I don't remember the exact people, but it was Patrick
Mahomes, Brady,
Roger Staubach,
or right around Brady.
yeah,
Yep.
and Roger Staubach was the other one, and he was fourth, 45-16, going into the first, I think, couple years of their career. And yeah, he doesn't have a playoff victory. Yeah, he is a mobile quarterback, and yeah, he missed the last couple years. But you know what? The reason he has missed the last couple years, I haven't seen anyone freaking talk about this, which is kind of mind-boggling. Actually, I'll give someone credit. Ryan Clark. Of course, my guy Ryan Clark did say this because
Love Ryan Clark.
Yeah, he has sense. He's from Louisiana. But he did say this. Maybe the reason that Lamar Jackson runs so goddamn much, and the reason that he's doing this stuff and taking these hits and not sliding, because he has no damn weapons. Like, he has Mark Andrews, who, again, elite. You're great. Love you. I have you on my team. I'm never trading you. You will be there until that league doesn't exist anymore. But a tight end, he is not Travis Kelce. He's not someone who's going to come out and be like your number one wide receiver. He's good. He's dangerous around the middle, but he's not like, when you have a
He's
guy
better
like
as a
Lamar,
second option.
Exactly. So like, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer like Travis is, and maybe he will get there one day, because Travis is obviously like 10, 12 years in his career right now, while Mark is only 4. But, and I don't want this to be about Mark. Like I said, I love Mark. Lamar has no freaking weapons. And you know who their running backs were for the last 2 years? Like, please, for the love of God, can you name them? Like, besides, I think it was Devontae Freeman. There was the ghost of Le'Veon Bell at one point, I think.
Yep. He got some snaps.
Yeah, there's
I think Latavius spent a little bit of time, and I like Latavius, but
I mean, like, literally, you gave this guy no one. He has no running game. He has no wide receiver. You traded away one of his best friends, Hollywood Brown. So, like, and the Ravens, just to say this, for one, you're stupid, because you could have made this deal for you a lot cheaper if you would have just paid the freaking guy what he's worth. And you don't give me shit about the playoffs and them waiting or anything like that, because he won an MVP in his second year without any freaking weapons. His best weapon is not a true number one wide receiver. It was Hollywood Brown. And he won an MVP. That's all he needed, was a good, not even a true number one. All he needs is a solid 2, someone who can really stretch the field. And no disrespect either to the Rashad Batemans of the world, because you haven't just been healthy. There's nothing you can do about that. But when it comes to like an MVP quarterback, and again, this is not I bring up Travis Kelce. He doesn't have that. And even if he did, I don't think that would make that much of a difference, because Lamar is not the type of quarterback that's going to sit in the backfield and be a Patrick Mahomes and dissect you with his arm. Yes, he can. I mean, he clearly proved that multiple times, throwing to no one. And then in that year, throwing 36 touchdowns, completing, I believe, 65% of his passes for over 3,600 yards, and only having, I think, about 10 interceptions, if less than that. So my guy can throw the ball, man. He has no weapons. He doesn't. What he needs is, and they've been in rumors for DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe this will be the first genuine move that the Ravens freaking make to showing Lamar Jackson, like, hey, yes, we are all about you. We will keep, like we are gonna
Would
fix.
love Bateman as a number 2 also.
Yeah, like, and you just got to stay healthy. But like, you got to show Lamar something. And about the collusion thing, I don't think the league's really colluding. I actually kind of believe what the rumor is that's going around is that the reason no one is even attempting to sign Lamar, which it's still kind of crazy when you think about it, but the reason that no one is even attempting to sign Lamar, the fact that is because they believe the Ravens will match it no matter what. Now, there are ways that you can layer a contract to where it would be very, very hard for the Ravens to match it. No, it really would. So if so that's why part of me doesn't believe it, but a part of me also does, because if this was Patrick Mahomes, even though the Chiefs were smart, they're a smart organization, never fucking let it get to this. But the Ravens, and I hate saying this about the Ravens because they are a smart organization. They're usually known for taking care of their players. They took care of Ed Reed. They took care of Ray Lewis. They took care of Terrell Suggs. I mean, they took care of Roquan Smith. Do they only take care of players on the freaking defensive side of the ball?
Apparently so.
Like, oh my God, like this is a different NFL, guys. Like, yes, defense does win championships. And I played defense whenever I played football. And I probably would have never made the NFL, but I came up in a really big sports family, and I really take pride in like my knowledge of like being able to like at least see talent and break down some film and see who's good, who's not, and like pick out coverages and things like that. Like, my God, I know that today's NFL is an offensive driven league. You gotta pay your freaking quarterbacks, man. And I don't want to hear shit. So, and this is the last thing I want to say, because I gotta go to a Pelicans game. I'm already probably gonna miss tip off. Thank God I'm only about like 20 minutes away. But like, dude, you gotta fucking pay your quarterbacks, man. And that's like another F-bomb I just dropped, but like that's how I feel. Like, dude, don't give me shit about this, because the rumor that has been thrown around is that they were about 100 mil apart. And at least what I heard, and there's been different numbers. You've heard that he's offered 160, and you've also heard 130. That was a number that was thrown around. But even both of those numbers, that's an insult to me if I'm Lamar Jackson. Kyler freaking Murray is making close to 180 million that was not a number. 189 million.
Never heard of that one.
Shut up. 189 million guaranteed. And my dude has not proved anything. He literally has teammates. He has teammates, current freaking teammates, calling
offensive linemen, telling
him
to be mature. Yeah.
Exactly, on his leadership. And I just posted this in the community thing. I don't know. I'm still learning the YouTube, Twitter sphere, whatever the fuck it's called. But where you tweet, and I posted that picture, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And I had Kyler Murray in the Dynasty League, and thank God I got rid of him. But you know what? It's the fact that, like, if I'm Lamar Jackson, the fact that this guy, even you can say it's a stupid organization. I don't care. You're stupid for making me wait this goddamn long. So, and again, Lamar, and this will be truly the last thing that I have to say, and Lamar probably made this harder on himself by not having an agent, because I do think if he had an agent, this deal would probably be done by now.
Yeah. I think something, just to piggyback on that real quick, that they've been talking about a lot in the media is that because it's his mom who's really doing the negotiating for him, when they say we're not paying your son that, we're not paying Lamar that, or, poo-poo an offer that she throws out there, obviously with the help of, a legal team and lawyers, stuff like that. But if you are telling somebody's mom that their son is bad, of course that's not going to go well. Right. But the agent's job is to be the mediator, to say, like, they can say to the team can say to the agent, like, bro, we're not paying your boy shit. You know what I mean? But the agent's not going to go back and tell Lamar that verbatim and take it personally. They just know it's business, right? But when you're saying that to somebody's mom, of course his mom's going to tell him, and it becomes a personal attack on him. Right. And I love that. I think, like Colin Cowherd and you don't like him as much, but I love him, mention those types of things. Like, it's personal. It becomes personal after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I would love to see, the Bears just made a trade back and picked up a lot of picks.
Yeah. We didn't even mention that DJ Moore heading to
Look,
Chicago. Love that trade for the Bears, you know.
look, but think about this, and this is a long shot, but you know this is my favorite thing to do. Why not package Justin Fields in a couple of them picks? Send it to the Ravens. They don't want to pay him. They've done business before. They traded Roquan Smith last year. Why not? I know you want Justin Fields' rookie contract, but you have other picks. You can put together a defense, sign people.
I would say the reason that wouldn't happen is they do have the money to sign Lamar. It's just because they're not in a position really. I don't know. That's tough because if I say that, then that means I kind of sound like a hypocrite from what I was texting you. Because I do think the Bears are going to be an interesting team next year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think they're going to do it. I mean, Justin Fields.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Justin Fields
like
is a version of Lamar Jackson, right? But I don't know. I just, you know me, I know you. You're the biggest fan, but I love throwing out the crazy stuff. And Lamar Jackson is an absolute beast. He's absolutely a team elevating
an elite
player.
Quarterback. He's not Cam Newton. He's not going to be burnt out by his 8th year. And you know that's really one of the last things that I wanted to say is that this guy is just truly different. You know, like no matter what you put around him, he is a winner. You know, so I pay this man his goddamn money. You know, wherever he goes, I want to see him honestly go to the Commanders. Like, I think that would just be
why the Commanders?
Well, for one,
I want to see him go to the Falcons.
I think so. You know why I don't want him to go to the Falcons because I don't want to play against my favorite player.
But that's absolutely, probably, admittedly, my top reason as to why I want him to go to the Falcons.
Well,
it's to spite you and my brother.
Well, fuck you. So I don't really care what you want.
Okay.
But the reason I think that I blanked on the team. What did I say? What team did I say?
Commanders.
The reason I think the Commanders will be such a good fit is because obviously you have Eric Bieniemy now, and I think Eric Bieniemy, if I'm him, I want to get creative. I want to show people why I deserve to be a fucking head coach, man. Like I didn't leave the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, to possibly give up winning more Super Bowls to go to a very toxic organization in the Commanders. No hate towards you Commanders fan. That's just the truth.
Hey, look, it's going to be over soon. Dan Snyder's about to be out of there.
But still, you don't want to go there just to like get worse at the skill position. And they have people around there. Jahan Dotson looked really good. Terry McLaurin is a dog. You know, he's just never had a real quarterback. And then also Curtis Samuel looked really well last year too. So you add a tight end, this really deep tight end class. You let Ron Rivera go in and focus on that that defense, which is what he is. He's a defensive coach. Yep. And I think he is a great defensive coach. He's been in shitty situations where he has to focus on what he's not best at. So now you have someone in there that can take that stress away and allows Eric Bieniemy to just be creative. Show people.
And did you see Bieniemy's not just the OC?
What?
Yeah. Bieniemy's not just the OC. He's the assistant head coach.
Yeah. So that's something else. Like that's awesome. I love that.
Love it.
You know,
but at the same time, just to play devil's advocate on that, though, don't you think that he might want to get a rookie quarterback and show that he can develop somebody outside of an elite talent like Mahomes or Lamar Jackson?
I'm sure they would, but I don't know if they're going to be able to, honestly. Like, at least not any of the top guys, unless they make a trade up for Will Levis. But I don't. If I'm them, I don't want to do that. I would rather stay where I'm at, take a freaking cornerback, because this is another really incredibly deep cornerback class, you know. Take a cornerback like Christian Gonzalez or Joey Porter, or I also really like Keely Ringo, but it seems like other people are really like kind of varied on him. But yeah, like take a cornerback or like a D end or something like that, or a linebacker like Drew Sanders, or I don't know if he is a first round grade, but the guy from Washington State that everyone really loves. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah.
But do that, like add to that defense, because your offense, if I'm Bieniemy, I think that offense looks fine. You have a running back, you have Brian Robinson, you have Antonio Gibson, and you have your wide receivers. You could get a tight end probably in the 3rd or 4th round with how deep this class is. You just need a quarterback. And I know they have Sam Howell, and you said that he looks like he can maybe be the best version of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I still would argue that version isn't going to be that very good. Like it's an okay quarterback.
I can see that.
So like
the team liked him though.
The team does,
you know what I mean?
But that seems very Taylor Heineke. The team loves Taylor Heineke too. So we'll see. But I think I just,
underrated. But yeah, I got you.
I think they have the money to make it happen. They would have to also restructure the cap a little bit to make that Lamar trade happen. But they can make it happen if they really wanted to, which is why it was just shocking to hear that they came out. But I kind of agree also with what you were saying, is that it kind of sounds like just bullshit. Like they're throwing smoke out there maybe to downplay it, but I don't know. I mean, like I said about like the Ravens just being, I'm going to match it no matter what the hell you put in front of me. I will figure it out, so it could go either way. But I honestly, if I'm Lamar, I want to get the hell out of there. Like, you pay me, you kind of disrespected me by some of the offers, like why would
I would want to be out there because they had the opportunity to give him the exclusive tag, and they gave him the non-exclusive, and you can kind of read into it whatever way you want, which is, hey, we want you, it's only 32 million versus like 42, 41 or something like that.
Right.
You can kind of read into it multiple ways. You do the non-exclusive so that Lamar can see what the market for him is, and then be like, look, that's what your market is, dude. We're willing to give you that, or even a little bit above that. So he can kind of see the grass is not always greener on the other side. The other side of it is they feel like, nah, dude, you think you're so good, go out there on the market and get it yourself then. And I lean more towards that as a disrespect. You know what I mean? Like, it's Lamar Jackson, bro.
Yeah.
He's done everything with nothing.
MVP, 2nd year in the league.
MVP with nothing. And I'm sorry, Marquise Hollywood Brown is good. He's not a number one.
He's not.
He's not.
He's not Deshaun Jackson. He's in his prime.
He isn't. He isn't. So, I would love D-Hop to go there. And I think if, free agency's coming up now, right? So if they can get D-Hop to go there, I don't see Lamar Jackson saying, nah, I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? Like, but even still, it's like, as much as I love D-Hop, it's like, man, you waited to get a 30-year-old wide receiver. Granted, he is elite, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this with a trade that we were working on earlier, but I love D-Hop, and I still think he's elite. And I think because his game has never been just purely about speed, it's been about route running and hands, his amazing wingspan and 5X glove size hands.
Yeah,
I think he's the right receiver for the Ravens.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. And they should have went and traded for him when all it took was a 2nd-round pick from dumbass Bill O'Brien.
Oh, my God, dude.
Like, if that's – I mean, any team in the NFL, you're all dumbasses, honestly.
I couldn't believe it.
When
I saw that he was available and we had Devontae, and it's like the only thing Green Bay really needed was another perimeter weapon.
Yeah.
And we didn't give a 2nd-round pick even a 1st-round pick at 27 years old or whatever he was.
Yeah.
How? Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation. Regardless of where Lamar ends up, I don't know if it will be in Baltimore. I think it would be nice if he ended up back there. I just don't know if he will. Wherever he goes, though, you gotta just pay the freaking man. You're getting an elite level quarterback, and your entire culture is shipped. You're a winner.
Miami is making a lot of restructuring, though. I'm just saying.
Well, they also signed or picked up Tua's thing, so I don't.
Oh, that's right. They did pick up his 5th year, which I don't understand.
It's unfortunate, but oh well. That brings us to the end of episode 4. I think it was a pretty good one. We got into a lot of stuff and went a lot longer than I wanted to, because the Pelicans suck anyway. That's why I'm not really worried about missing it. They got to get freaking better, dude. Zion,
what did I tell you about Zion, bro?
Zion, if you're not,
I told you about Zion. And don't get me wrong, I love him. I love the talent, but I told you about Zion before the season started, and he was right at the beginning of the season. You're like, dude, he looks really good. He's back. What do you got to say about him now? It was a matter of time, bro. And I wish him the best. I don't want him to be injured. It's just some guys, man.
I mean, it's not just Zion. Honestly, the rest of the team, B.I., C.J. McCollum, they've all been in and out the lineup.
Yeah.
Willie Green. I mean, we just got to stay in there. If we could stay.
But to me, y'all are going to go as far as Zion's going to take you.
Well, we made some noise without Zion last year. So
Noise.
We did. We almost we went 4-2, I think, in a very close 4-2 with the Phoenix Suns. So like that was a phenomenal series. I don't know if you watched that one.
Wonderful.
But, yeah. I mean, and I'm wearing my Mamba shirt. Got a shout out. This is actually a pretty cool shirt, by the way. I'm very happy about this. It says
that is pretty dope.
24, got the 8. It's a baseball jersey that I'm wearing at a basketball game. So, I mean, who fucking cares? But no, we got a lot of stuff that happened. Obviously, free agency is coming up next week. Anything else you got to say? I mean, obviously, like and subscribe, leave some comments, tell us if we suck, tell us if we got better. Oh, the names before I go. So we have a couple names that we wanted to give y'all an opportunity to shout out in the comments. Say if you like it, if you love it, if you think we're morons. Just let us.
Well, we're definitely morons, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we have one. Now, this is kind of, I feel like you got to understand the joke that I was saying, and you guys will understand it once, I guess, the name or once the podcast releases. But Flash or Cougar Den Sports or podcast. So we had either one of those,
Cougars Den, yeah,
or podcast, or maybe Cougars Den Media. So again, there's a little inside joke there, and you'll understand once we release the actual podcast. It's a very good movie reference. Or we have Flash Time Sports, and Alex didn't agree to this one, but I'm throwing it out there anyway because
Flash Time,
and I like it. I want it. Flash is my favorite DC comic book hero. So, you, Alex.
Why? Is that how we got to end it, with you flicking me off?
Yeah, it is.
Why don't we end it with you trading me DJ Moore?
Huh?
Why don't we end it with you trading me? I said DJ Moore, but I'm going to change that to Bijan.
How about you lick the darkest part of my you-know-what?
That's just unnecessary.
I mean, I said you-know-what. I tried to keep it.
No, but I want you to understand that I've been nice to you this podcast, all right? And you're about to go watch Zion sit on the bench for no fucking reason.
I don't care. Shut up. Let's just end this. I'm about to cut you off so you can't even say anything else. Can I mute you? I can. I just don't know how right now. Oh, there we go. Mute. Ha! You suck.
What an asshole.
God damn it. All right. I'm ending this episode. I hate you, Alex. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, buddy.